Hey, what's up guys? My name is Daniel Lopez with Invest in You Finance, and today we are going to be talking about money and why it's important to know how money works and what money is. Money is basically what we use in today's society to buy things and to live off of. We trade our time for money. When you have a job, you're trading your time to get a paycheck. A lot of people want to get rich, a lot of people want to make a lot of money, but what happens when you're rich and you have a lot of money? Well, the question that you should be asking is, how do I manage my money? A lot of people, basketball players, superstars, and famous people, they have a lot of money, but guess what we see on the news? We see them go broke because they were never taught how to manage their money. And that's what I'm here for. I want to show you guys how I manage my money and how you guys can manage your money as well. But just learning the basics is what you will need to manage your money. Anyone could get rich, anyone could make a lot of money, but not everyone can keep that money so that it doesn't run out. I like to talk about retirement because a lot of people want to jump a million steps and go all the way to, okay, how do you retire early? Okay, how do you quit your job and become financially independent? Well, there's a base, there's a foundation, there's something that has to be built before you try and get rich quick and make all this money. Because anyone, you could make millions of dollars. You can make $1 million a year, and if you don't know how to manage that money, that same year you could have spent $1 million. That's why it's very important to just have a basic foundation of money. In school, they don't teach us anything about money. In school, we learn about math, we learn about all these, weird questions that they ask us, all these tests, and it's like, okay, how is this gonna help me out in my future? Basically, it's not. Like adding, subtracting, multiplying, division, all that stuff is good, but why not teach you guys the basics? Like math, to me, is related to taxes. Okay, I get paid this much. How do taxes work? How do they work? Because if I figure out how the tax system works, then I can figure out how to keep more money that I've made and earned in my pocket, right? And I have a bunch of videos out there on how to calculate your income taxes. And you don't even have to learn the math behind it. You just have to find a program, and they're free programs that are online where you can calculate that. And then by figuring out, okay, how taxes work, then you can see where you can save money, see what you can do to keep all that money that you're earning in your pockets. And that's why it's important to just learn the basics, how to budget, okay? If you make X amount of money every month, but you're spending all that money and then you're spending more than you're making, well, then you're not gonna have any money left over. That's gonna cause people to use a credit card, and then they're not gonna pay their credit card on time. They're gonna go into debt. And then once you go into debt, it's hard to get out. So in school, it would have been nice if they would have taught us about money, just the basics. Unless you go for like business or finance or something like that, then you can learn about money. I went for mechanical engineering and I learned about math. That's why I do a lot of calculations, because to me, money is just math. If you want to figure out how you're going to retire, then you have to figure out how much money you have saved up. And that's the thing. Before you want to figure out, okay, how am I going to retire early? It's like, okay, why not figure out how much money am I going to have when I retire? If you're 18 years old, if you're under 20, if you're in your mid 20s, even if you're in your 30s, please consider saving up for retirement, because you do not want to get to retirement and then turns out you weren't saving enough, so you have to keep working, and you're not going to stop working until maybe you're 70, maybe you're 80, and like maybe you just can't stop working. I wanted to retire way before I reached 60 years old. So I had to figure out backwards, okay, how much money do I need if I'm going to retire? Okay, if I have this much money, how much time is that money going to last me? A basic principle that is very important to know is the 4% rule. If, let's say you're 60 years old and you want to know, hey, can I retire? You call whoever has your money for retirement and they tell you, okay, you have $1 million. Okay. Now you know that when you're 60 years old, you're going to have $1 million. Well, the 4% rule says that you can pull out 4% of the $1 million in order to live off of, and that will last you 30 years. So if you're 60, that money will last you until you're 90 years old. But what if you don't have $1 million? What if you have $500,000? $500,000 would be $20,000 that you can pull out. Can you live off of $20,000 a whole year? Of course, we're not considering that you might have Social Security and you might have a pension. So that would just be added income to that retirement account. So technically when you retire, you could have Social Security and you could have a pension, and then you could have your normal retirement account. But see, when you retire, you want to have your expenses at you want to have them at zero. You want to have no expenses. And the reason why you want to have no expenses is because you might have to live off of $20,000 a year if you only have $500,000 saved up in your retirement account. If you have $250,000, $250,000, and you can only live off of 4% of that, that's $10,000. That's not even $1,000 a month. So you see, if you're getting close to retirement, you look in your retirement account, you only have $250,000. Well, that $250,000 is only going to yield $10,000 every year for 30 years. Now, this is what might happen. You can pull out the whole $250,000 that year that you retire. How long will it last you? I mean, who knows? It just depends on how much money you're spending and things like that. But the point is, you want to have your expenses paid off, definitely. But you want to know how to manage your money, and you want to know how much money you're going to be getting every month. So that way you can say, okay, I have, house payment, car payment, whatever payments you have. That way you can subtract and then you can figure out a budget. But you should know all of this before you retire. You should know this like right now. Like you should know how much money you're making every month, and then you should know how much money you're spending every month. Being financially independent, being rich, being financially educated, it just helps you manage your money. If you know nothing about money, you can be taken advantage of. People are going to take advantage of you. They're going to, rip you off. And you've worked so hard. I mean, you're at a job and you're putting in hours to get a paycheck. Don't you want your money to stretch the furthest? Don't you want your money to buy you things at the best prices? So that way, all that money that you made while you were working can go a long way. You definitely do. And that's why I want to stress how important it is to learn about money. You can get rich, you can make a lot of money, but if you don't know how to manage your money, then it doesn't matter if you win the lottery. The lottery is like at $1.2 billion. It's possible to just completely go broke within a year because you weren't taught how to manage your money. And yes, you could pay a financial advisor, but of course, that'll cut into the money that you've made. But if you don't want to learn about money and that's the way you want to go, you definitely have that option. But just, like everything, just find someone who's good and that you trust. I personally like to manage my own money. I like to know where all my money's going because I've worked so hard for that money. And it's just important for me to know what's going on with it. Because if someone else tells me, yeah, this is what's going on, blah, blah, blah. I mean, if I have no vocabulary of any financial words, then I'm just going to be confused. And then I'm just going to hope and pray that that they're doing a good job and they're taking care of my money. But in reality, it's like speaking a foreign language. And that's what I want you guys to learn. I want you guys to learn the money language. And the money language is just learning basic terms, basic financial words that will help you ultimately become financially independent, financially free, or just help you get to retirement. If you want to retire early, then yeah, I would recommend that you go read books, go look on the internet, go YouTube, financial independence, retire early. When I was looking for things on financial independent, retire early, I couldn't find anything. So what did I do? I just did the math, and the math is just black and white. If you have this much money will last you X amount of years. Guys, learn about money. If you're serious about becoming rich, before you become rich, learn how to manage that money. You can start a business, start making all this kinds of money, but if you don't know how to manage it, then the next year, the following 2 years, the next 3 years, it's all gonna be gone because you never learned how to manage it. So before you get rich, try and learn the basics about money. Go check out my other videos. I was a W-2 employee working for a company. I didn't own a business at the time and I just worked, but I saved a lot and I invested a lot of my money. I was very frugal. I lived with my parents. I've never bought another car besides my truck that I've had. And I've done all these things because why? Because I didn't want to retire when I'm 60 years old. I wanted to retire when I was 35 because now I have a daughter and I'm getting to hang out with my daughter. I'm getting to spend time with her. I mean, I hear that from 0 to 4 years old, that's like the best time to hang out with your kid and enjoy those, those years that you're never going to get back. So I am able to do that. I don't have to take her to daycare. I don't have to drop her off with her grandma or, grandpa. I get to hang out with her from when she wakes up to when she goes to sleep all day. And that's what I wanted, Back then, I didn't have a family. All I had was me, myself, and I. But I knew that I wanted to be able to enjoy my time with my family. And in order to do that, I was going to have to learn how to manage my money. So please, guys, check out my other videos, like and subscribe. I appreciate you guys subscribing and following me and checking out all my other videos. If you guys have any comments, any questions, please, I will answer your questions. Just comment below. And this concludes the video. Hopefully I brought you guys some values. Take it easy, and I'll catch you later.